A new poll says President Obama's poll numbers are dropping faster than Anthony Weiner's drawers in front of a webcam. I'm John Phillips, and this is Next Generation Beat. A recently released CNN poll says President Obama's approval rating dropped 8 percentage points over the past month to 45%. The president's lowest ratings in more than 18 months. What's even more shocking, the overall decline in his approval rating was partially fueled by a plunge in support from the next generation. Last month, nearly 2/3 of those in the 18 to 29 age group gave the president a thumbs up. His approval rating among that bracket fell 17 points and now stands at 48%. The president's lowest rating in more than 18 months. The only group polled who are sticking with the president are poll respondents in the place of the president's birth, where 84% of Kenyans say he's doing a good job.
God.
That's a joke, for the record. These numbers cannot be understated. The next generation is part of President Obama's base, and they're leaving him. Young people like fads, but as soon as a fad gets worn out, they move on to the next one. In the 70s, they like bell-bottoms. In the 80s, they like mullets. In the 90s, they liked horny presidents who had a thing for cigars and portly interns. Okay, some things are timeless. But not President Obama. He looks like he's going the way of bell-bottoms and mullets. And it's not just all of the Washington scandals that are bringing him down. It's also his pathetic response to those scandals. Here he is on Charlie Rose trying to explain the NSA away.
Should this be transparent in some way?
It is transparent. That's why we set up the FISA court. Okay. Look, the whole point of my concern before I was president, because some people say, well, Obama was this raving liberal before, now he's, Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney sometimes says, yeah, he took it all lock, stock, and barrel. My concern has always been not that we shouldn't do intelligence gathering to prevent terrorism, but rather, are we setting up a systems of checks and balances?
And the next generation isn't buying his answers. They're saying, you can take my iPhone with naked pictures of me and my friends out of my cold, dead hands. Joining me to talk about this is our Next Generation Beat panel. He is the fair-minded civil rights defense attorney who you can hear in Los Angeles on Talk Radio 790 KABC, Leo Terrel. She hosts the Tammy Bruce Show, available online at tammybruce.com, Tammy Bruce. And PJTV contributor Scott Ott joins us from the great state of Pennsylvania. So, Leo, we'll start with you. The president's approval numbers just dropping like a stone, particularly among the next generation. Why do you think they're abandoning him?
Two reasons. He sounds like a typical politician. He came in with these fresh ideas, and he's stale, and he's outdated. Young people want their privacy when it comes to their social networking, their communications. And this whole scandal about wiretapping, surveillance, monitoring your phone bills, checking your phone bill is devastating for young people. They're on their phones 24/7. And as far as the idea of Obama coming in and talking about this Pfizer court and surveillance, hey, Obama is not committed to transparency like he promised.
Well, let's take a look at that even closer, because the next generation feels completely differently about this than the older generations.
Sure.
Is it because all of them have cell phones and they're worried about the government getting naked pictures of them?
Yes, and more. They're on their phone all the time. Seniors are not on their phones 24/7. Young people do not communicate, do not walk a foot without using their phone. And that they really believe that the government, Big Brother, and their former pal Obama is looking in and spying on them. That's the problem.
Tammy, is this going to be a problem that's going to go away after this issue leaves the front page of the newspaper, or is this sting going to be there for a while?
I think that one of the larger issues is, I got to take a little bit of issue with your approach. I think it's less about trends and them getting kind of bored with Obama than the fact that there was a real bonding at the beginning, that this is a guy who promised them the moon. It was like a new relationship, and he's like Prince Charming coming in on his unicorn, and rainbows are everywhere, and then you find out you've got Ted Bundy, and you get really mad, or Phyllis Diller, right? So what they did in the, I'm glad you like that.
Ted Bundy.
There you go. Sorry, I know.
He used to work at a suicide prevention hotline.
look, Ted Bundy was a Republican. So let's be honest about that. The deal is here, though, is that there was a real intense bonding that occurred, and Barack Obama didn't tell them the truth. There is some disillusionment, but more than that, they feel used.
So it's a bad breakup.
Oh, look, it's a very bad breakup with a boyfriend that sounded great. And not only just didn't fail, or he kind of, lost his job and became a loser and a bum, he never meant it from the beginning. So I think that this is much bigger than, well, we kind of got tired of him, or we're moving on to the next cool thing. This warms my heart in that the next generation across the board, especially Obama supporters, because, we're not dealing with, Republican young people here, but these are liberal young people who really believe in the foundation of their principles and what matters to them, and they've been hosed, and now they know it, and they're not happy.
Scott Ott, I have some results of a new poll that came courtesy of the Washington Post and the Pew Research Center. And listen to what they found. 51% of young adults ages 18 to 29 said it was more important for the federal government to investigate possible terrorist threats, even if that intrudes on their privacy. But 45% said privacy was more important, even if it limited the ability to investigate possible terrorist threats. Now, contrast that. Fewer than a third of adults aged 30 or older told pollsters that preserving personal privacy was more important, while about two-thirds placed a higher value on permitting terror investigations, regardless of privacy infringement. We're seeing two different reactions to the same thing from the next generation and older people. Does that surprise you?
Well, no, and I think Leo hit the nail on the head, really, because there is a generational difference in the use of this technology. Although now that I'm a geezer, I'm still using technology at probably a greater rate than I was when I was younger. So, I'm all over the Facebook and the Twitter and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it is changing. It's kind of a strange dynamic here, because you have a whole generation of people who want to be the ones to break the news about what they had for lunch, or who want to tell you all about exactly how they broke up with their boyfriend, and who want to show you the picture of them drinking a quart of beer through a hose and a funnel, but they don't want the government into that kind of stuff. And I think that there's a great concern about who controls the information. It's okay if I want to spill my guts to the world, but the idea that somehow President Obama knows who I called last night and how long we talked and where we were when that happened, that's a little scary.
And no matter how much Scott and I use the internet and the cell phone, we can never catch up. These kids were born with the internet and the cell phones. We were born with the old dial tone, put up 25 cents in a coin machine. Not now. These kids are always going to be using cell phone and the internet, and that's the problem.
Well, let's remember, too, what these young people, and I think what we all remember when we were the next generation, what we were dealing with, the idea that your parents had to knock on the door first. A lot of these young people finally have their parents not just barging into their room, that they're able to, maybe they're even living alone or in the basement. Unfortunately, they can't get their own apartment because they don't have jobs and they don't have enough money. But they've worked hard and fought for privacy at home. And then the guy that was going to make everything outside great is now coming in to do the thing that they've actually finally had success with their parents of finding that personal privacy space, which now all seems to be irrelevant.
Well, talk to me about the politics of this. What does President Obama have to do to recover? Because right now, he's the system, and the system's spying on you. And that is a political death wish for any president who came in on hope and change. What does he do to recover?
He's going to shift the focus. One thing about young people is they want more freedom. They want more equality. I think the issue about gay rights, the issue about the immigration, about more inclusion, that attracts young people. Because young people, unfortunately, are not focused on national security. They don't think that the world's going to end like older individuals. It is more rights, more freedom. But what Tammy just said again, that cell phone creates secrets for young people. And Big Brother is spying on their
Obama's
secrets.
Trying to already do that. You heard him in Berlin talk about nuclear weapons as though it was 1985 again. You're hearing the abortion debate come up. A lot of people are trying to distract everyone, but I think this next generation realizes that they've been distracted already for a long time, and I don't think they're going to buy it from either party.
Well, I'll tell you what else hurts them. The fact that there are faces.
I don't think that they should have the ability to I don't think he should just change the subject, which is what Leo is suggesting here. I think he's he needs to stop saying stupid things like, oh, yes, it is open and accountable. After all, we give these things to the FISA court. The FISA court is a secret court that nobody knows what they're doing.
Like, what are you talking about? It's like that's open. It's like the farmer's market is the FISA
single
court.
request that comes to them for a wiretap warrant.
Well, here's the problem. The FISA court was in existence during the Bush administration, and that's why I'm saying Obama's just repeating those.
But he ran against that,
and he ran
though.
against it. That's why I'm saying he sounds just like like everyone else, and he is.
But it's even worse, because this is again why young people are particularly appalled. This is a man who, unlike the Bushes or Cheney, who just kind of owned the nature of what they said needed to happen. Obama said this was wrong, and I'm going to change it, and now they're seeing he's doubled down.
And there are faces and names attached to this. We know, for example, that Cheryl Atkinson had her computer. It was going on and off in the middle of the night. And nobody knows why. Nobody knows what happened. We know what was going on. She was investigating Fast and Furious, and the government was going into her computer to find out what she had. Yeah. And when people are looking at that, they're thinking, this could be my computer. This could be my information that's being accessed by the government. And maybe, they're going ballistic.
Maybe young people also not realizing technologically, if your computer's off, someone else...
And she's not a terrorist. Nothing. She's a private citizen.
Does anyone know the name and address of the FISA court? I've never been there. I've been a lawyer for 25 years. Where is the FISA court? Where is it?
Isn't it a square on the Monopoly board?
I want to know where it is.
I think it's right next to Park Place. That's
well, my GPS can't find the airport.
You know where the address of the FISA court is? Who's the judge? I don't know where it is. Can I be on the court? Maybe I'd like to be on the FISA court. I don't know where it is.
Scott, now, I think this is the absolute killer.
That's what they're not telling
us. The fact that we were told that the NSA was going after phone records because they're hunting down terrorists, yet we have people who are political opponents of the president, the IRS, who were targeted. We have journalists who the president didn't want working on certain stories. They were targeted. So I think people assume there's more there, that when we peel back the layers of the onion, we might find that they were using this personal information against private citizens. Is that where young people are connecting the dots here?
Well, yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, the Obama administration and Nancy Pelosi's Congress were talking about being the most open and transparent operations. Well, I don't think the people who supported them and voted for them, expected that by open and transparent, what the government really means is we're going to be opening your mail and everything that you do is going to be transparent to us. I think that fundamentally, if you're a politician, people don't have to agree with your principles or your policies, but they have to like you and they have to trust you. Now, people still kind of like the president, but they don't trust him so much anymore, and that's big trouble.
All right, and we're going to have to leave it at that. Leo Terrel, the fair-minded civil rights defense attorney, Tammy Bruce, host of The Tammy Bruce Show, and Scott Ott, all-around good guy. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you'd like to comment on today's show, you can do it right here or on our Facebook page at facebook.com/NextGenTV. See you next time.